this time talking about TikTok and the potential threat to national security.
The deadline for the sale of TikTok is rapidly approaching as
the director of CSIS, David Vigneault, is putting out new warnings to Canadians about the dangers of using TikTok.
170 million Americans wake up to it. They eat lunch watching it. They fall asleep scrolling through it. In less than 5 years, a Chinese app has captured more American attention than Facebook achieved in 2 decades. TikTok doesn't just know what you want to watch. It knows what you don't yet know you want to watch. It reads your micro-hesitations, your replay patterns, your thumb's velocity as you scroll. And behind this digital dopamine dealer sits Beijing, watching, learning, shaping what a generation thinks is real. This is the story of how a karaoke app for Chinese teenagers became America's most dangerous addiction, how Silicon Valley's greatest fear isn't losing money, it's losing the war for human attention to a company that answers not to shareholders, but to the Chinese Communist Party. The question isn't whether TikTok is a Trojan horse. The question is whether we've already opened the gates, celebrated its arrival, and invited it to stay forever. Zhang Yiming didn't look like a threat to American democracy. In 2012, the 29-year-old software engineer was just another ambitious coder in Beijing's Zhongguancun district, China's Silicon Valley. But Zhang possessed something his competitors didn't, an almost prophetic understanding that in the attention economy, the feed would become more powerful than the platform. While Facebook focused on friends and Twitter obsessed over followers, Zhang built ByteDance on a radical premise. Forget social graphs, forget human curation. Let the machine decide. His first app, Jinri Tu Tiao, meaning today's headlines, used artificial intelligence to serve news without editors, without human bias, without conscience, just pure algorithmic efficiency. Within 2 years, 120 million Chinese users were hooked. But Zhang's ambitions stretched beyond China's Great Firewall. In September 2016, he launched Douyin, a short-form video app that would let users lip-sync, dance, and perform to music clips. The twist? The algorithm wouldn't just learn what you liked, it would learn who you were. Your age from your viewing patterns, your sexuality from your lingering glances, your insecurities from what you rewatched, your politics from what you scrolled past. 1 year later, Zhang made his smartest move. He created TikTok, Douyin's international twin, supposedly separate, supposedly independent. The apps would share the same DNA, the same algorithmic brain, but TikTok would be global, free from Chinese censorship, or so the world was told. Then came the acquisition that would change everything. In November 2017, Zhang paid $1 billion for Musical.ly, a lip-syncing app beloved by American teens. Overnight, ByteDance didn't just buy an app, it bought a backdoor into American youth culture. It acquired the digital fingerprints of millions of American children, and most importantly, it gained something no Chinese company had ever possessed: the trust of American parents who saw nothing but their kids making silly videos. By 2019, TikTok had achieved the impossible. It broke the Facebook monopoly. Instagram's teenage users were fleeing in droves. YouTube's creators were secretly posting on TikTok first. The app had weaponized joy itself, serving an endless stream of perfectly tailored entertainment that made every other platform feel like work users spent an average of 52 minutes per day, not scrolling, but immersed, hypnotized, consumed. The algorithm had evolved into something unprecedented. TikTok's For You page wasn't just predicting preferences, it was creating them. Users would joke about TikTok knowing them better than they knew themselves. Gay teenagers found community before coming out. Undiagnosed ADHD sufferers discovered their condition through targeted videos. The algorithm had become oracle, therapist, and friend. But it was also something else. A window into the American soul that Beijing could peer through whenever it wished. Inside ByteDance's Beijing headquarters, Chinese engineers had real-time access to the data of American users. Despite TikTok's claims of independence, internal documents would later reveal Project Raven, ByteDance employees in China repeatedly accessing US user data, including that of journalists investigating the company. The company that swore it would never share American data with China was already doing exactly that. The first crack appeared in October 2019, when Senator Marco Rubio requested a federal review of TikTok's acquisition of Musical.ly. His concern seemed almost quaint. Was TikTok censoring content about Hong Kong protests, about Tiananmen Square? The assumption was that China would use TikTok for crude propaganda. Nobody yet understood that the real power wasn't in what TikTok censored. It was in what it chose to amplify. Then came February 2020. As COVID-19 spread from Wuhan to the world, something strange happened on TikTok. While Twitter and Facebook erupted with pandemic panic and conspiracy theories, TikTok's algorithm seemed to suppress COVID content, keeping users distracted with dances and challenges. Whether by design or coincidence, TikTok had become a digital pacifier during global crisis. But in Washington, military and intelligence officials were noticing something else. TikTok wasn't just entertainment, it was infrastructure. The app had achieved penetration rates in America that no foreign technology company had ever reached. It wasn't just on phones. It was shaping language, driving fashion, influencing elections. Teen slang spread from TikTok to classrooms in days. Political movements organized through TikTok trends. The Chinese Communist Party didn't need to push propaganda when they could simply tweak an algorithm and watch American democracy argue with itself. August 2020 should have been TikTok's moment of reckoning. President Trump signed an executive order that would ban the app unless it sold to an American company. Microsoft was ready with a $40 billion check. Oracle had partnered with Walmart. The forced sale seemed inevitable, but TikTok's leadership made a calculated gamble that would define its future. They would fight the US government in American courts, using American law with American lawyers, and they would win. The strategy was brilliant in its simplicity. TikTok mobilized its most powerful weapon, its users. Millions of American teenagers flooded social media defending their favorite app. Influencers with follower counts larger than cable news audiences portrayed the ban as government overreach. TikTok had turned American youth into its proxy army, fighting a war they didn't understand for a company that wasn't even American. But the true masterstroke was hiring Shou Zi Chew as CEO. Singaporean, not Chinese. Harvard MBA, former Facebook executive. The perfect face to put before Congress. Asian enough to claim discrimination, Western enough to seem trustworthy. Shou would become TikTok's human shield, absorbing American anger while Beijing's influence remained hidden in the code. March 23, 2023. 5 hours. That's how long Shou Zi Chew sat before Congress, and in those 5 hours, the impossible happened. The man representing the most sophisticated surveillance apparatus ever created made the United States Congress look like technologically illiterate bullies. Does TikTok access the home Wi-Fi network? Congressman Richard Hudson asked, seemingly unaware that every app does this. Can you say with certainty that ByteDance can't access American data? Demanded Congresswoman Kathy McMorris Rogers. Shou's response was a masterclass in evasion. We have never been asked by the Chinese government for US user data. Not, we would refuse. Not, we can't. Just, we have never been asked. The hearing that was supposed to damn TikTok instead exposed America's greatest vulnerability. The generation making laws didn't understand the technology enslaving their children. While Congress asked if TikTok connected to Wi-Fi, the app's algorithm was learning, evolving, understanding American society at a granular level no polling firm or intelligence agency could match. That night, something shifted. TikTok downloads increased by 15%. The app that Congress tried to shame had become a symbol of resistance. American teenagers weren't just using TikTok anymore. They were defending it like a homeland. Beijing had achieved something the Soviet Union never could. They had made American youth choose a Chinese company over their own government. The months following the congressional hearing revealed an uncomfortable truth. America had already lost the TikTok war. Every attempt to constrain the app only made it stronger. Montana passed the first state ban in May 2023. TikTok's legal team destroyed it in federal court by November. The judge's ruling was damning. The ban violated the First Amendment. A Chinese company had successfully used American constitutional law to protect its right to harvest American data. Project Texas, TikTok's supposed solution, became a $1.5 billion theater performance. The company claimed it would store all US data on Oracle servers in Texas, protected from Chinese access. But former employees revealed the truth. The data might sit in Texas, but the algorithm, the real power, remained in Beijing's hands. It was like storing gold in Fort Knox while giving China the combination to the vault. By 2024, the unraveling wasn't TikTok's, it was America's. The platform had evolved from entertainment to essential infrastructure. Small businesses depended on TikTok for marketing. Musicians needed it for discovery. Political campaigns required it for reaching young voters. Ban TikTok, and you wouldn't just anger teenagers, you'd crater an entire economy built on viral attention. The app had made itself too big to ban. Even more disturbing were the cognitive changes researchers began documenting. The TikTok brain phenomenon, reduced attention spans, increased anxiety when not scrolling, inability to consume long-form content. Gen Z's neural pathways had been rewired for 30-second dopamine hits. China hadn't invaded America. It had reprogrammed America's youth from the inside out. As of 2024, TikTok hasn't fallen. It has transcended. The Biden administration's attempts at forcing a sale have stalled in courts. Congress remains gridlocked between those who see the threat and those who fear the political cost of angering 170 million voters. Meanwhile, TikTok's algorithm has become more sophisticated, more invasive, more essential to American life. The final bow isn't TikTok's death, it's America's capitulation. When the 2024 presidential candidates all maintain TikTok accounts despite calling for its ban, when Congress members use the app while voting for restrictions, when parents who fear Chinese surveillance still hand their children phones with TikTok installed, the conquest is complete. The most successful invasion in history required no soldiers, no bombs, just an algorithm that understood human weakness better than humans understood themselves. TikTok's true legacy isn't the app itself, it's the model it perfected, the fusion of entertainment and surveillance, the weaponization of joy, the proof that free societies will voluntarily surrender their data, their attention, their autonomy for the promise of perfectly curated distraction. Other nations are taking notes. Russia's VK, India's ShareChat, emerging platforms from adversarial nations, all studying TikTok's playbook. But perhaps the most enduring echo is generational. An entire cohort of Americans has grown up with their thoughts, preferences, and behaviors shaped by an algorithm controlled by a foreign power. They've been studied, categorized, and influenced during their most formative years. What happens when this generation enters positions of power? When presidents, CEOs, and generals have spent their youth under algorithmic influence from Beijing? The TikTok story reveals the ultimate paradox of the digital age. The most powerful weapon isn't what you force people to believe, it's what you make them want to watch. Every empire in history eventually faced barbarians at the gates. But what happens when the barbarians don't come to the gates? What happens when we invite them in, give them our children's attention, our society's data, our democracy's vulnerabilities, all for the price of a dance video and a dopamine hit? TikTok asked a simple question. Would America trade its digital sovereignty for entertainment? The answer came back at the speed of a swipe. Yes, repeatedly, addictively, enthusiastically, yes. The Chinese didn't need to steal American secrets when Americans would willingly perform them on camera. They didn't need to spread propaganda when they could simply decide what goes viral and what gets buried. In the end, TikTok won't be remembered as the app that China used to spy on America. It will be remembered as the app that proved authoritarian technology and democratic values cannot coexist. And when forced to choose between our principles and our entertainment, we chose to keep scrolling. The Trojan Horse is already inside the gates. We're just too distracted to notice it's not a gift. It's a conquest, and we're not the victors celebrating. We're the city about to burn.